On today's show, I have guitarist, songwriter, singer, and just blues man extraordinaire Alex Lopez, and we're going to talk about his newest album called Yours Truly Me. So welcome to the show, Alex.
Thanks for having me today, Kelly. I'm honored to be here and humbled by the introduction.
Well, you know, the whole thing about the blues, it's this enduring musical genre that a lot of people love, and I like how people like you are really keeping what I would say, you know, the traditional blues sound going. So what I want to know is how you first, you know, got involved in the blues.
Yeah, it's interesting. My relationship to the blues starts with really the British blues bands that we all know, like Led Zeppelin and Cream, Jeff Beck, and those type of artists. And that's how I got connected to blues to begin with. And then as you kind of explore that music and you want to dig and find out, well, where did they learn it from? Where did they get their inspirations? Then you discover, of course, Freddie King and B.B. King and Albert King and Albert Collins and everybody else out there. And so it's interesting. I'm actually removed by a generation, I guess, from the original blues masters, but have come to know the blues masters through the path of the British blues bands of the late 60s and 70s.
Well, it's interesting, you know, you're both a great singer and guitarist, but you've really picked, I think, as inspiration the great guitarists like Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix. So when did you first pick up a guitar?
Well, that's interesting because I actually started as a keyboard player, and that's how I had my formal training. And so I started as an organ player in my youth, and then what happens is you start playing in bands, right? And you know, the keyboard player is the guy sitting down watching things happen. The guitar player is like the cool guy in the band, right? So, you know, you're young and you're like, I want to be that guy. I want to be. So what I did is learn to play guitar from the guitarist I was playing with as a keyboard player, and then slowly just transformed into a guitar player probably around the age of 14. That's when I really got serious and learning and studying and became a real guitar player, if you will.
Well, it's really cool, I think, about blues. Blues really is, I think, the type of music you want to perform live in front of a crowd. So, you know, how did you really get your experience, you know, playing live? Did you start playing in bands right away?
Yeah, so I started, I think like a lot of kids do, you know, in a garage band, and that kind of evolved into playing at the local schools and talent contests. And I always like to tell the story that I was one of those guys that got to play at my high school homecoming and another school, you know, so that's how it started for me. And then that just evolved into local clubs in the Cleveland area. So just a natural progression of, you know, wanting to play in a band and then, you know, going to where you know first, which is the schools, because they always had, you know, dances and events, and that's kind of how it started for me.
Well, that's, I think, encouraging to a lot of people because, you know, you paid your dues, you played, you know, like you said, this at the school and in bands, and then, you know, flash forward 2013 and you put out your first album, and since then, in just the past, 6 years, you've put out 4 albums. So how did you make the leap from, you know, bar band guy to actually recording artist?
Well, the industry changed so much, and what happened for me is I realized that if I didn't make a change, I was going to be bar band guy forever. And I'd always been a songwriter. I mean, I've always been a songwriter. I've always done that. And so with the new way that music is delivered, with the indie world that's now opened up to people, it's easier than ever to distribute your own music. So honestly, I just said to myself, I've got to take this jump, because if I don't, I never will. And once I put out my first album, which was basically recorded, at home in my back bedroom, by myself, playing all the instruments, then from there it just came natural, and I just started determining that I would try to put out an album. I haven't quite kept the pace, but an album a year for as long as I could. So you just do it, man. You just cross the bridge. You just make that commitment, and you go forward.
Well, now I can see where you got the name for your first album, Back Bedroom Blues. Recording it in your back bedroom.
Exactly.
Well, now I'm wondering, since that...
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, well, since that first album, how have you progressed? I mean, how have your production values advanced? I mean, are you still recording there? Have you moved into a studio? I mean, what's changed from album number 1 to your current album?
Yeah, another great question. So, for me, the first one was at home, as I mentioned, but I've always been a studio player. I started playing in studios very young. At the age of 17, I was recording in studios, and I always loved even though in today's world, the technology available, you could still continue to put out good product in a bedroom, if you will. There's nothing like the environment, the atmosphere, the test tube that a studio provides. So for my second album, I went to a studio that I've worked with very closely, Atomic, Audio, that's actually here in Tampa, and started doing it the way I did it back in the day, with a band, live, and then overdubbing from there. And so certainly I've learned a lot about production. I've studied production, and those production values have increased and have become more polished, but I don't want to lose the rawness of that live band feel, because I think there's something to be said for 3, 4, 5, 6 musicians plugging in a room and turning up the amps and just letting it go.
Well, I was on your website, and from your latest album, called Yours Truly Me, you had a single called I Am a Working Man, and that seems to have been getting some airplay. What can you tell us about what's been happening with that song?
Yeah, so the album has gotten a lot of airplay. I mean, we've been very fortunate. We have peaked at number 6 on the Roots album charts, which is the charts to show how frequently radio stations are playing your music. So we were at one point number 6 in the world. We've been as high as number 22 in the UK radio charts. So we're very excited and blessed to be there. And so, I'm a Working Man has been a particular fan favorite, along with Take Me Back Home. Those 2 tracks have been the one that people have most connected with. And, we're really lucky that people like those songs, and they really have taken off. We've even been played on, which I understand for my publicist is very difficult. We've been a regular played on Sirius Radio on Bluesville, which is B.B. King's radio station, and we've been played there on a regular fashion. So, we're really excited about how far this album has come as far as exposure and the fans and their support, and we're just lucky. We're just lucky.
Well, that's quite an accomplishment with that charting, especially nowadays, because it's so competitive. There's so many songs out there, so that's pretty amazing. Well, what I'm wondering, with the titles like I'm a Working Man, what inspired the songwriting for this? Were you going back to more of a, working class songwriting style, like a Bruce Springsteen, or, what was it all about for you this time?
Well, that particular song was really inspired by the way I was raised. I'm very, middle class, blue collar, hard-working family. My father was, worked in a Ford factory his whole life. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. They sacrificed to give me a great education. And so I've always appreciated, and I'm from the Midwest, and I think there's a certain stereotype, which there's some truth to, I think, about Midwestern hard-working values. And so I just wanted to put an anthem out about, hard-working people every day trying to, make ends meet, reach for their dreams, help their children have a better life. And so that was really the inspiration behind the lyrics for that song. The actual music just came from noodling around, and then the concept and the music came together and formed the song as we know it today. So
nice. Now you're from Cleveland originally, but you now live in Florida. How is the blues scene different in Florida than, say, the Midwest or Cleveland?
Yeah, so it's a lot different music scene. Cleveland, as everyone knows, is renowned for being the home of rock and roll. And so there's a lot of clubs to play in. The blues is Chicago, that's right around the corner. Obviously, the home of northern blues, if you will. An entire genre is called Chicago-style blues. So I think there's a lot of places up north to play, and I think more so to some degree than in Florida. There is an active, strong blues scene in Florida. I want to give you the wrong impression. But it's more scattered throughout the state. So we have to travel quite a bit to get to the best blues venues around, which, that's fine. It's just a part of it. So I can't wait to get back up north. Hopefully this year we're going to do a Midwestern swing and go back to my old stomping grounds and play up there.
Well, when you and your band play, I mean, how far out do you travel? Do you tour? Do you play, other parts of the country?
Well, we're a regional-based band. I mean, that's the reality of it. So, I mean, we've played Florida, we've played Georgia, and right now we're planning tours in the Southeast. Our goal for the year 2020, and in support of the album and because of, quote-unquote, the success of the album, is to venture past that. I just told, we have a great agent, Blues Pros Talent, one of the best known in our business, who I just talked to recently, and I just told him, I'll play anywhere in the country, because they were asking me about a festival in Montana. And they said, hey, you want to go to Montana? And I will say, I will play anywhere in the country in 2020. And quite frankly, I'm hoping to take that across the pond as well. So next year, hopefully, will be a road year, and we'll put our time in and earn our keep and get to spread the music across the entire U.S. That's our hope, knock on wood, right?
Yeah, knock on wood. Well, it's interesting you say festivals, because that's really where it's at now. Festivals are so popular, and they're a really great venue to, find new fans. So, what festival, if you could, pick any, are there any specific blues festivals you'd really like to be in?
Well, that's another fantastic question. To me, I'd love to play the Handy Festival, which is in, I'm going to get the state wrong. I want to say it's Tennessee, but I could be wrong about that, which is one of the largest blues festivals in the world. Springing in the Blues is in Jacksonville, probably the biggest blues festival in the Southeast. So those are two that I'd love to be able to play. But we've played a lot of festivals. We're playing one on October 20th right here in an area called Homosassa, which is called Camping with the Blues, which is a very big 3-day festival. We're actually a main act on the third day. Then we played the Florida State Fair, and we played Dunedin Wines the Blues, and we played the local Mardi Gras, which has like 30,000 attendees. So we just have to expand past our home base and get out across the U.S. So those are two that stand out in my mind that I'd love to play.
Nice, nice. Well, for the current state of the blues out there, who are some of the other, blues artists that you can say, like, oh, if I like this person, I'll like Alex Lopez. Who are some people that are kind of in the similar, range of your style of blues out there?
Wow, that's always a tricky question because you don't want to leave anybody out, and you want to make a good comparison, if you will. So I think there's, in my opinion, obviously opinions might vary, there's some similarity with, Mike Zito and his music. There's some similarity with things that, not that I'm comparing myself as a player to Joe Bonamassa. He's obviously one of the greatest players in the world. And, I'm humbled to even be mentioned in the same paragraph. But I think in terms of our approach and our live show and what we are trying to do and the energy that we bring, I think that's a comparable. There's lots of artists that I love out there. I mean, I love Samantha Fish. I think she's amazing. I think Victor Wainwright is amazing. There's some great Florida acts that I enjoy and compete with, like Albert Castilla and J.P. Soares, and Sean Chambers, and I think we're a little unique because we have a keyboard element that a lot of blues don't necessarily have. A lot of blues acts are trios or guitar, bass, drum, singer. We add the keyboard element. It's a big element of what we do. So I do think that from a live perspective, Joe Bonamassa's approach is really comparable.
That's great. And if you had your, dream collaboration, who would you like to record with? Like do a duet or something like that?
You mean like dream, like, never going to happen, or like...
But yeah, like big dream.
Well, if I had the biggest dream, I would love nothing more than to be able to work with Paul McCartney, or Buddy Guy. So I'm a musician of versatile taste. So you would say, man, you said Paul McCartney, but you're a blues player. Oh, I'm a musician, and I love great musicians. And to play with arguably the greatest songwriter of all time and collaborate and contribute one note to one of his songs would be an accomplishment of a lifetime. So obviously, in very high regards. But other than that, to work with, people like Buddy Guy, tremendous blues player, that would be an amazing opportunity for me.
Well, who knows? Sometimes when you put it out there, sometimes you're surprised and end up working with your idols. You just never know.
You absolutely never know, and it would be an honor to even come close to working with those type of artists. But there's certainly a lot of artists that I respect and enjoy, and I neglected to mention Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I'm a big fan. I'd love to do something with his band someday. So always looking for great collaborative opportunities.
Well, one thing I like that you're doing is you put out some pretty nice live videos, and it seems like for what you're doing, showing people what you're like when you're performing live, is a way to, I think, really showcase your work. So what's your process there? Are you making any, specific videos for your songs, or do you find it's best if you just stick to the live, concert footage?
We do a little bit of both, but I think that each has its role. So for me, I don't want people to presume that we're just a studio band, for lack of better words. We are a hell of a live band, and we work very hard on putting a great show, and you can only do that through great video. So we do take a large percentage of live video. In fact, at our festival on the 20th, we're going to be playing most of the album, and we're going to professionally video all of our songs that day and put that out for everybody to enjoy so they can know what to expect when we come to their town and hopefully be motivated and excited to come out and see us. So live videos is very important. Give folks an idea of what they can expect. But equally so, we have our share of, I guess you call them music videos, so that people understand the concept and, you know, the mindset behind the song. And we do a little bit of both, but definitely very keen-eyed to understand that live video is a critical element of trying to capture people's attention and keep our audience and our fans excited. It's all about keeping the fans excited. That's the number one thing you got to do.
Nice. Well, I agree. Well, before we wrap up here, I want to give you a chance to tell people where they can see those live videos of you online. Where's the best place to learn about your music and to buy your music?
Well, I appreciate that. And the easiest place is our website, which is alexlopezmusic.com. Very easy to remember. And from there, that will take you to, I mean, we're everywhere. We're on Facebook, which we'd love to have you follow us on that. You can find our YouTube channel, which is where we post a lot of live stuff. And we will continue to do that every week. And you can stream our music on any platform, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, iTunes. It's available pretty much everywhere. So we'd love you to follow us, be a fan, get to know us, because we'd love to get to know them as well. So look forward to that opportunity.
Nice. Well, here's a question for you. Since internet radio is so rapidly changing, say a fan wants to get you added onto a radio channel they listen to. How would you suggest your fans approach both traditional radio and online radio to get you added to the playlist?
Wow. That is an incredible, great question. I have a publicist that handles a lot of that for me, so frankly, I'm going to speak from a little bit of an uneducated position, but I would say the best way is the old-fashioned way. Social media, send them a message. Every one of our internet radio stations has access through social media, and let them know, hey, I'd love to hear the Alex Lopez album. Hey, I'd love to hear, this song. And they will respond, no doubt about it. So whether that be through Twitter, whether that be through Facebook message, whether that be through their own websites, they're all accessible. And we love internet radio. Internet radio has been so supportive of us. Without internet radio, we wouldn't be anywhere. So we need to support them as well. So I'm sure they'd love to hear from the fans.
Well, let's wrap it up with one last question, because you mentioned your fans. What has been the best response from your fans for the new album? Can you think of any quotes or just any comments people have made?
Yeah, I can. I can remember a fan who was a new fan that said, this song feels like it was written just for me. And as a songwriter, I don't think there's any greater compliment than to feel that you've really connected with somebody on that level. And above all things, I'm a songwriter. I try to give my fans something that they can feel and be connected with emotionally. So when somebody says something like that, it sticks with you. And that was a very, very huge compliment, I guess, that had an impact on me and let me know that I'm on the right course. I'm doing the right things.
You do all that work and spend all those hours, and one comment like that must make it all feel worth it.
Yeah, it's funny because I say it's like golf. Have you ever golfed?
Yes. I'm not good, but I appreciate the people who are good.
So I'm a terrible golfer as well, but here's what I will tell you about golf that you could be terrible at golf, but if you hit one good shot, you'll come back, right? Oh, I can do this. And so when you get a compliment like that, it makes all the hard work, all the pain, everything you go through to put out good music worth it. And so I love to hear from the fans. I love to hear their thoughts, honest, true, and pure. And I cherish those opportunities to connect with them. So hopefully we'll hear more as time goes on.
Well, Alex, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. I want you to have a great show on the 20th, and keep plugging away with the Yours Truly Me album, because it's really great. I really like it.
I so appreciate it, Kelly. Good to talk to you. Good to be a part of the show. Thanks for having me. And again, thanks to all the DJs, all the fans, because you guys make it happen for me. Appreciate it very much.